Welcome to TressTalk with Gerdie, your weekly dose of hair, beauty, business, education, wellness, and of course, faith. On this week's episode, I have my longtime colleague, but she has grown to be a sister and a friend, Michell Jenkins. MJ is...
Hello. Love your look.
Love your look.
Mm-hmm.
She is a lot of things. That can go very, very wrong.
I was thinking, yeah, good.
We've known each other for double-digit years, actually. And I've been knowing Michelle since the days of Nefertiti on God Brewer. Okay?
Yes.
Those who are from Queens understand and know exactly where I'm talking about.
Yes.
But nonetheless, I just wanted to be able to really cover three main things. Number one, her story. How did she get started in this industry and what led her to get into this industry? Wanted to have a conversation, an open, candid conversation for both of us who have been in this industry for over 20 years on what her experience and her thought is on where we are now with regard to the beauty industry. And lastly, just wanted her to give her input on how she's been able to pivot and what she's doing now since she's no longer behind the chair full time. So without further ado, Michell Jenkins.
Hey. And Gerdie, just let me be really clear. I've noticed that you were avoiding saying the number of years. You changed your thought process. I saw it moving in your face. Yeah. So then you said over 20. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, tell the number because we need to be factual because A, we still look amazing.
Oh, hey.
And B, because we're going to talk about where they are not. And I know that was like one of your questions in the middle, so I won't jump ahead, but that's a part of it. And I think the longevity is what gives us the ability to talk to this topic.
Absolutely.
So, friend,
you were correct. I didn't say the years because I know for me it's 25 years. With you, I wasn't sure. You know, you are older than me.
It's 27.
I wasn't sure. Okay.
I count the license part because I was doing hair. Okay, so I'll just start over. I went to fashion industries for high school. Okay. But I kind of always knew that I wanted to. I'm a creative, so that artistic kind of thing was always there. But in fashion, once we found out what they did to these students, taking their designs and how the rest of the industry worked, I was totally turned off from that. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to leave high school and not listen to anybody and work for myself because I was just over that part. And so I also enjoyed doing my own hair. I think at the time, my sister used to do my hair all my life. And I had a big forehead growing up and I always wanted to cover it and she never would cover it. And so I started doing my own hair and I liked it. And to the extent of once I got out of high school, I just kind of moved into it. And I had a few clients that were friends. And then I said, you know what? I told my father, I'm not interested in going to 4 years of college. I don't want to listen to people again. I'm done with school. I kind of graduated the year early to be done with school. And so I said, can I just start working for myself? I just wanted to start working for me. And that didn't go over well, which it doesn't usually when creative people tell their parents that they're not interested in college or the school aspect. Mm-hmm. And let me be really clear with that, because I hear some people say to me, oh, you don't like college? It's not that I don't like college. I'm a major knowledge buff. I'm a whole nerd, right? I believe in education, but I believe in hands-on education. So for me, I'm a different type of learner. So I need to be doing the actual thing, not reading about it and then applying it, because I can't focus that hard. That's I'm a little special. So I left high school. I went to 2 years of college, just literally to get that business management degree, and I don't even know. I can't even remember if I finished. I was looking it up. My poor dad, I think he made me finish that part, but I started working already. And I went to cosmetology school, got licensed, and they set up the basement in their house for me. And I had a beauty salon in the basement. My parents did that. And I appreciate that to this day because I know, again, it was hard for them to do that. Yeah. not knowing, this one that's not listening doesn't want to go to college, but they still set me up foundationally to start my business. So
they planted that seed for you.
Yeah. My father was never into you have to work for someone else and climb that corporate ladder deal. His thing was travel, see the world, live your life to the fullest. My mother didn't really go against the grain with that, so I was just like, I'm glad he knows I'm a free spirit, because I was going to do that anyway.
Yeah. So it worked out, right?
It worked out.
And that's great. That's great. I think that's one thing that we do share in common with regard to starting out in our homes. I started out in my home as well. And I actually was in college doing my 4-year at Temple when I really made the decision to take what I just did as a hobby. Like you said, starting doing hair from 8 years old and then really going in and wanting to be licensed. And my dad was like, I did not send you
to college
to tell me you want to go to hair school. And they refused to pay for it. But I wanted to do it. Right. You know how we just know what we're going to do. And I did hair school, paid for it out of pocket by myself.
Wow.
By working at a salon, unlicensed, on the weekends to make money to pay for hair school.
We're not promoting that, but we know it's happening. So
And there's something to there's certain things that that's what you are destined to do or want to do, to be able to do it.
Right.
To do it.
Right.
Cool.
I think you've done that amazingly, and look, I think we both was able to show that there's a difference. So at one point when I did start, I was in this industry, right? We worked through it for all these years, and the past few years ago, on my bucket list, I told you I wanted to go back to cosmetology school to teach, because I felt like people were taking our industry as a joke now, and it really was annoying to me and frustrating. So I said, if I go back to the schools, maybe I can impart with them how much income there is to be really made. So to take it seriously, and to, as a mother now, right, not to stress your parents out about questioning whether you're really going to take your craft seriously enough to live and make a lifestyle from it and not be a bum. Because typically that's what we want as parents. We want our children to be stable. We want them to be educated, but we want to make sure they can take care of themselves.
That's right.
And so when I went to the school to teach that, what I found was so disheartening. I literally could only be there. And I believe you reached out to me a couple of times looking for assistance. And I said, I cannot even recommend one person to you. And that was sad. I had students? I had about 27 students that were about to graduate.
So what Michelle is talking about, is it okay to mention the school that you were teaching?
Absolutely.
So there's a popular school here in New York, Long Island, Queens. It's Long Island Beauty Sciences.
Beauty School.
Long Island Beauty School, LIBS. And having known Michelle for years, even before I went to hair school, you were already licensed and practicing when I met you. So knowing that she was in the school, when I first opened my salon, I was floored at the fact that it was so hard to get really great students, really great talent coming in and wanting to be able to hone in on their craft. It's more than just getting a license. And it was disheartening to see the amount of talent, untapped potential, and it lacking. And so I was really happy that you went in to do your part in that. And sad but true, we're in a place now where it's still just as hard. I can say from having opened my first salon from 2007 even till now, it's never been an issue of getting clientele, guests in the chairs, people to come in. The issue has always been finding adequate staff, adequate professionals. And I use that term loosely because I am learning more and more. Professional means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
A whole lot.
And so what did you find was your experience while you still were behind the chair, but now you were teaching as an educator in an accredited school? If you could speak to that.
There was a little gap. So I did, before I went to teach, because the teaching was maybe late, after 2015? So I'd already stopped being behind the chair full time at that point. And I came back out of, I would quote unquote say retirement, semi-retirement, to do that piece, because I was still interested in that before I took it into more the education side, right? Yeah. Still trying to figure out how I could help this field develop and come out. So I was there for 2 years, and I decided that that was my last set of students that I would get close to, because the untapped potential, that word stuck out to me.
Yeah.
I think we have done an injustice, and I will say we, I think our age group, because our parents didn't do that, right? So it's us wanting to make more money, give our kids things, and then these generations behind us now don't realize that they have to work for something, that there's a process that takes place between $100 and I want to make six figures. Yeah. I want to make, and it should be granted to me just because I showed up.
There's a lot of entitlement.
For no good reason.
Yeah.
And no work behind it.
Yeah.
But great talent and great ability. But there's no, I want to work on that. Let me figure out how to improve it.
Yeah.
And so, in order for me not to be frustrated and want to, strangle people's children, because a lot of them, and it wasn't children, it was adults. These were adults. Yeah. These were adults. It was just like, okay, this is my last year. And everybody's like, oh my God, are you serious? Absolutely.
What was the age range while you were there teaching? What was the age range that you were finding of the students?
Oh, so the youngest was 18.
Okay.
And then all the way up to about 27 was in my class.
Okay.
Of course, the older women were a little bit more responsible, but they still had other jobs. And so it was still like that thing where I don't think we had that. I didn't have that choice of, I'm going to work here until I build my clientele. I didn't do that part because there was never an absence of clients.
When you say work here, meaning in another industry?
At another job for someone else. Like, I'm going to work at this job, and then I'm going to do this on the side. Yeah. And so I was trying to help them adapt the thought process of, let this be your full-time income, but I'm going to show you how you have to sit still in the shop and be there, and the clients will come once they know that you're there. And I think we discussed this a couple of days. Wow, we always discuss this, but sitting still and just being still in a salon in one location for people is like a hard thing for them to do.
Yeah.
And so I remember when I left my house from the basement and decided to go to a salon to work, one of the things we did, and this is late 90s, 95, 96. One of the things you did was you rented your booth, and then you went and sat in a chair like we're doing now. And you waited for people to come in. You laughed, you associated with your colleagues that were there, or if no one was there with you, you sat down and you studied something, or you did your mannequin, you did something to study your craft. But as the clients would come by and say, oh, you're here now? Because people have to see you there. And then even if they don't want to come that day, they know that you're there and they'd come back. So it was really easy. And I was in a great location, which was a boulevard. It was crazy and fun and hectic, but it was still a busy location.
Yeah.
And people came in, and within 6 months, I had built a clientele that 27 years later, I can still tap on those people. So
a few things you brought up. You brought up some really key things that will segue into the next part of what I want to discuss on how we were trained, how we were brought up, what we did starting out in this industry, where the industry currently is, especially in light of social media.
Right.
And one of the things that you brought up was the consistency and learning to just be still. Just to piggyback off of that, we grew up, or we were brought up in this industry with an understanding that you want to find an established salon and actually learn and actually be under someone to learn the ropes, to kind of start from the bottom up, to grow and have that humility in that, okay, just because you have your license doesn't mean that you know everything.
Right.
Wanting to be able to learn. And I find that hunger, not only is it not there, but I'm finding that this younger generation of stylists come in, and because they show up, the thought is that I'm here, I showed up, and that's enough.
Service me, pay me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay me.
And also with us coming up, it was being really proactive and going out there and handing your card out or telling people actually reaching out and making sure you built your book.
I forgot that.
Back then also, to your point, was that we were in a culture of walk-ins.
Yes.
You know, a lot of the times you made sure you found location was key, who you worked for, making sure that people knew that your presence was there.
Right.
Now, the app, you can run everything from your phone with social media, and it's made a lot of these newer stylists lazy, but also not maximizing the free advertisement, the free way you can get yourself out there.
So technically,
and I'm continually floored by that, you know? So what do you say about what's happening now, especially with so many people? Their goal is social media stardom, right?
Right.
And we're finding that in these brick and mortars, you know, the industry has changed. There's been a paradigm shift, especially now navigating through these, while we're in the midst of this pandemic. You know, COVID-19 has changed a lot of what we know, how we know it.
Right.
That coupled with the rise of social media and so many people saying they have businesses which are, you know, more virtual, right?
Right.
What's been your experience and what are your thoughts?
I'm trying to put them in a box so we don't take all day. So first thing is, we cannot run everything that is tangible, hands-on through social media, because there comes a point where it has to leave the screen and be hands-on, literal. So advertising, the promotion, yes, if we're teaching and we're having something conversationally like this, but the actual work that has to happen.
That contact, that person to person.
Right. The shampoo, the treatments, the actual work, and the end result still have to freaking be amazing. It still has to be a service. And so it's not. It's not. They're entitled, they're spoiled, and they're freaking lazy. And they don't even realize that they're entitled, spoiled, and lazy. They think, and this is why I have grace, because I can give you grace. God's given me plenty. So I can give people now grace. I don't even want to say students, because that's not, a student is someone who wants to learn, right? You're advocating and you're showing that you want to learn. I won't call everyone a student, and you have to be a student first before you can become a teacher. So you have someone to take one class, one course, and now they're a master. And let me be clear with the master definition of, right from school, 10,000 plus hours on a live person, human being, tangible, moving, touching, not a doll, not any type of, you know, false thing. It has to be a real live person, a people. You've mastered nothing until then.
And that's not only for our industry, just to be a master in anything. You need to put in the work of, at minimum, of 10,000 plus hours.
To use the word mastery.
But we're hearing that so much, especially with social media. We're seeing masterclass this and masterclass that.
Because Canva says you can write it on there, and you can write it on there. And so when people are doing their homework or research, let me clarify this too. Google is a search engine. It's not a research engine. So you can get things that pop up in that surface information, but it still means that you have to dig deeper into finding the true facts about it. And so what I'm finding is that they're missing out on so much.
Yes, it's a very superficial layer.
It's totally superficial, and I'm over the superficial, because you know I'm just too real for superficial. I'm okay with dressing up and playing something, but if that's not you, when you're done playing, there should be something to back it up.
Especially now, we're finding how the industry has changed because of people being able to get information everywhere at the drop of a dime, 24/7. If someone is actually taking the time out to come into your establishment or to pay for you to service them, people are more so now paying for the experience, because so many people have DIY and they're knowing what they're doing, or, you know, what have you. And so how have you navigated the fact that people now are willing to come in, but they're more so paying for the experience over the service? You know, the service is part of, but it's the overall experience.
You were here. Your establishment is a safe haven. I always say that to people who if you're not around or you come around, there are places that you know, an establishment that is godly. It's not going to be rowdy. Nothing wrong with rowdy. I'm just not at that point anymore. Yeah. So I need a peaceful location to come in and talk to my clients. So I have been, it was easy for me to navigate because my initial clientele base was from 1990s, literally. Those same people, Gerdie, those same people have been sprinkled all over. I've referred them to places, different places, and I've had enough of them that asked me to, because I would still go to them sometimes if they had a special event. Yeah. I had 2 specific people who had hair trauma, and they're just that shy and embarrassed to come to a salon, that I actually stayed service and providing them to their homes. So for me, service was everything. I can pick up the phone and just call and say, hey, I'm gonna be back in the salon for a couple of months. If you wanna be seen, I can take you, and they will come.
Great.
But that's because I already established that. And it wasn't, I don't think, because I was so great of a stylist, especially back then. It was that we had fun and I listened to them.
You provided an experience.
I provided an experience. I'm hella crazy sometimes. Sometimes I'm hella serious. And then I got saved, and then people realize also with that counseling session that I'm gonna real talk you to death. Like, you know, if you sit in my chair and you tell me something, you're gonna get what it is. Yeah.
You touch on a few things, and that's one of the blessings of what we do. We're able to touch people and meet people, and you hear different jokes on people saying, you know, you're a hairdresser, but you're also a counselor, you're a minister, you're, you know, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. We've made a lot of great connections, and I think it's a blessing that we're able to have that one-on-one interpersonal connection. Something else you said, it's actually going to segue into our last or final component. In light of all that's happening in the world, where we are, the experience, how have you pivoted from being full-time behind the chair to now being very selective as to whom you service? You're in the salon twice a month, but you have a lot of other great things going on, and so wanted to highlight that.
Well, I started realizing frustration actually led me, unfortunately, to that. I kept asking God, where do you see me in this now with my personality, with my strengths? What do you feel like? And so I've really allowed God to lead me through all of these pieces. And he said, you know, self-care. So I kind of transitioned from seeing people who would not allow themselves to be serviced. Let me be clear, Black women predominantly, but all women, because I've dealt with all women through the fashion industry, the beauty. I've dealt with all of those women. We don't know how to be serviced. We don't know that self-care is healthcare.
Yeah, self-care is not selfish, right?
It's not selfish. It's necessary. It's really our healthcare. And so if we're not taking care of ourselves the way we need to, not just with our hair appointments, but yes, with those too, not just with our skin consults, not just with our body care, but all of that embodies self-care. We don't take on enough of that, of what our personal needs are. And so when I saw that not happening enough and people just giving me the pushback with, my hair's not growing, my hair's falling out, this is happening, that's happening. Okay, well, come in and be serviced. I can't talk to you from the computer. I can't service your hair from the phone. But if you come in, I can touch you. What I will say that I realize that a lot of people don't get with social media, with the distance. We're touching people. And when you put your hands on people,
it's very powerful.
When I lay my hands on you, I lay my hands on you. And what people don't know is before I knew Christ, right, I was laying my hands on them. And I would always pray for people. I just didn't know that that was the power that I had, and that's what I was doing. And it's nothing about my skill or the hairstyles or anything else. It was only because of the grace of God that that was allowed to happen. So that, in essence, is what we do.
Yeah, that's right.
And I can still say, now that I've transitioned, I'm a wellness coach, beauty strategist, but wellness coach because the overall picture is for me to help women understand from their mindset first And that's the target area for me, our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
We have to shift that and to understand, because if you don't shift how you think about yourself and your self-care, you're not gonna make the adjustments to how you eat properly, taking care of your gut health, how you sit still with or without social media on, how you put your feet up when you sit down. Like the little things, how you ground yourself and connect back to the earth, how deep that those things that have to happen that we're missing every day, I have to help them figure that out. And that's the piece that I decided to transition to.
Awesome. Amazing. Now you all see why I wanted to have her as one of my first guests. Absolutely. I want you to look into the camera and let our viewers know where they can find you, how they can contact you, and just leave us with some parting words straight from your heart.
Oh gosh, she wants me to cry. So I am MJ Is, which means MJ is self-care, MJ is healthy, MJ is love your look is the brand. It's everywhere, but you'll see MJ Is. My website is mjis.loveyourlook. mjisloveyourlook.com is everything. It's MJ is Love Your Look everywhere. I am a wellness coach. I am on Facebook, Instagram. A direct way to reach me, I'm super old school, is 631-922-9050. People ask me, can they call me? You can call me. I answer my phone, and if I don't, it's because I can't talk, but I return messages. So whether you see me on social media or you just want to call me, I actually answer the phone because I'm still in business all around. And so any parting words that I would like to say is, please just figure out the best way to take care of you. And if you found this channel that Gerdie is so graciously provided to help women with, if you found her here, that means you're looking for more. Feel free to reach out if you want the rest of the package. After you've gotten your hair and everything else together, make sure you get the rest of the package together and find me. I'll be available. And we can put a total wellness package for you together. And that way you'll know how to be grounded for a lifetime and get yourself back together.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. I appreciate you. You know that I love you. I'm not just saying that for the cameras. You know I'm a straight shooter. And so that's our episode. I do truly hope that something that we said or shared has really helped you along your journey. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to TressTalk with Gerdie on YouTube. You can find me here on the Inspired Living Network Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, your body is a temple, so treat it well. See you next week.